Hey, I'm Jay, and today we're going to be doing a transmission service on this 2015 Audi Q5. We'll be using our Liqui Moly Top Tech 1800 automatic transmission fluid and a Hank's transmission filter, which comes with your filter, your gasket, and new hardware for the pan. This is a pretty simple job, so there's no need to go and spend hundreds of dollars at a dealership to do it. You can do it yourself, and this covers all platforms for the ZF8 transmission. So let's get started. You'll need an assortment of tools for this job, but not all of what we use are necessary, such as this filler pump, which is technically a brake bleeder. It just works great for this application. We also use some Milwaukee power tools, which help us get the job done a little more quickly. Again, not necessary, and all of these will be linked in the description below. You'll definitely need some torque wrenches and a ratchet. A breaker bar could really come in handy. You'll need a couple different sockets, a couple different triple squares, some torque bits, and a few different Allen keys. There is one instance in which we had to push our exhaust out of the way a little bit just to get to one of the bolts holding our transmission support on there. We just used a pry bar to push it just a little bit out, and we're able to get up in there. Our extension helped a lot with that. Once you get all your tools together, we'll get started. All right, your first step is you're going to want to remove your factory skid plate. This is not on the vehicle because we have our ECS street shield skid plate installed on it. So we're going to have to remove this as well as this shield, and then we can get to all the other components of the transmission. You can find a link for this street shield down in the description. We're also going to be using this Milwaukee tool, which will be linked in the description just to make it a little faster. But to get the hardware off for this, you're going to need a 4mm Allen and a T30 torque bit. And that's off. Now to get this cover off, we're just going to use our T25 torque bit. All right, next we got to remove this cross brace, but before we do that, we're going to remove this harness because it's clipped to the cross brace. And it's out. The cross brace is held on with 4 bolts that are 18mm and 2 bolts that are M14 triple square. And we found the harness is clipped onto the X brace back here as well, so we're just gonna pop that out. All right, next we're gonna remove our transmission brace. You need to remove these 3 nuts and then get in and remove these 4 bolts. Since we're removing this brace, we decided to grab a pole jack to support the weight of the transmission, just so there's no extra load on it. Also, our exhaust pipe is slightly in the way of this last bolt, so I'm going to try to pry it out of the way a bit to get into here. All right, now we can remove our mount bushing. Now we can get to the pan easier. Now we will drain the fluid with a 5mm Allen. Could be messy, so do your best. And don't drop the drain plug. Pretty.
There we go.
Crack open our fill plug with a 10mm Allen. Now we will remove our tray. What's that? And it's always good when you don't make a mess. We'll wipe all the old fluid out, clean our pan, clean off our transmission, replace the filter. You can see on the magnets too, they're doing their job. A little bit of glean in that. Now we got the inside of that cleaned. Pull off our old gasket. Get the edges nice and clean. Oh, there we go. Filter's out. More fluid. Give this a wipe down. Now we will install our new filter. Ta-da! Now we will reinstall our pan. Important to make sure your gasket's lined up pretty close, but it's not going to line up perfectly until you get things started torquing down. All right, all of our hardware is in place. We're going to tighten it down snugly, and then we will torque it down to 4 Newton meters plus a 45-degree turn. And there's a specific pattern that you want to do these bolts with in order to make sure that this is all seated properly. I'm going to follow the pattern, just getting these tightened too. Click. Now we got our pan back on. We'll put in our drain plug. We will reattach the mount bushing and the mount brace, and then we'll go ahead and fill her up. Torque these down to 40 Newton meters. Let's get it started. Now it will torque these down to 70 Newton meters. When you're putting your X brace back on, you can see there's a little threaded insert in here which the bolts go into. So those have a tendency of moving, which can misalign. So you just want to make sure that's lined up right. So the torque specs for your cross brace here vary depending if it's a facelift or a pre-facelift vehicle. This is a facelifted one. So our torque specs for the M14 bits are 90 Newton meters plus a 90-degree turn. And for the 4 bolts, it is 90 Newton meters plus a 130-degree turn. All right, all that's left is to refill our transmission fluid. This will take 9 quarts, which come with the kit, and we're going to be using our Schwab filler pump, which will be linked in the description. All right, we got about 3 quarts in the transmission now, and then you'll start noticing it to start to stream out. So at that point, you want to put your drain plug back in, start the car, get it up to temp, and then you're going to run through each gear. So you're going to use your manual shift with your foot on the brake, and you're going to run through each gear so that oil pumps through each solenoid. And at that point, you'll take your car back up again and finish filling the fluids with the car running. And you'll know when it's topped off because you'll get another steady stream out your fill hole. If you don't have our Schwab pump filler, these bottles are great because they've got this little nozzle. You can stick it in there and just squeeze to fill. We got our fluid levels topped off, we took the vehicle for a test drive and everything felt good. It doesn't hurt to double check your fluid levels after the test drive just to make sure everything's still topped off. You can find a link to this service kit and the other tools and such we use down in the description. And if you want to see a particular DIY from us, let us know in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and check back for more enthusiast content. You can also find our other DIY videos in this playlist over here.